Last time I checked, I was still a kid. Childish, childish, this all freaks me out a bit. Childish, oh shit, how can I parent when I'm still a kid? Childish, oh shit, who the hell decided I was ready for this?
Hey now, Greg Fitzsimmons here, a.k.a. Fitzdog. They used to call me Chavez and at one point Spike.
They called you Chavez?
Chavez in college.
For why, though?
No idea. It just became something that, when you're a drunken college guy, you just, one of my friends was named Cocktail Man. Another guy was named the Senator. Then there was Gindog, Fitzdog, the Hick, the Turk,
Why, and also why Spike?
My parents called me Spike when I was a kid, and I have no idea why, but that was my nickname for a lot of years.
Did it have anything to do with Snoopy's?
I think it did, actually.
Brother?
His cousin.
I
think it was his cousin. Yeah.
Well, I'm Alison Rosen, a.k.a. Rosenberry, which is only a nick. You know how you have just situational nicknames?
Yes.
I'm just Rosenberry as relates to you and this podcast, because you're grapefruit and I'm Rosenberry, and we often address each other as fruit and berry. That's something that's just for us. That's not a public bit of info, but now it is.
Now it is. Now people know how we address each other.
That's right.
Little pet names. A lot of people posit that we are having an affair because of our intimacy and our chemistry. And I think our looks, we look like two people that would make love to one another behind our spouses' backs.
Look, when you look as good as we do, it's assumed. They can hear the chemistry we have. They see the raw sexuality on our Instagram photos. So,
and also, our spouses have to assume that we're having an affair. And so we're cheating ourselves we're not cheating on them, we're cheating ourselves that we're not actually doing it because we're getting credit for doing it.
That's right. We have really tolerable spouses that either are very tolerable or really are checked out.
Do you mean tolerant?
That's what
Tolerable would mean that we can tolerate them.
This lockdown is making me dumber. It's making me dumber. It's making me angrier.
Yeah.
I mean tolerant. And I'm a word person. But I think we are a classic will they or won't they.
Yes.
We're like Maddie and Bruce Willis.
Yeah.
From Moonlighting.
We're Ted Danson and what's her name in Cheers?
Diane. Right? Diane was Shelley Long. And then what was Kirstie Alley's character's name?
I don't remember.
Okay.
But by the way, if you're of the younger generation, get on Hulu and watch old episodes of Cheers. I mean, there are sitcoms that were perfect. Mm-hmm. Mary Tyler Moore, All in the Family, Taxi, Cheers. They blow away shows like Friends and, the Big Bang Theory. And I mean, they're so much better.
I was just going to say, I was going to go with Ross Rachel next, and that's Friends. I liked Friends. I've heard it does not hold up.
It does not hold up. My kids tried to watch it, and they just didn't get it. And also, being New Yorkers, they were like, Dad, I don't understand. They don't really have good jobs, but they live in unbelievable apartments. I'm like, well.
It's very unrealistic.
I mean, Taxi was like a bunch of gritty. Nobody was good looking on that show except for Tony Danza. And it was just like, it was real life. It was like what it would be in a taxi cab stand. I mean, Mary Tyler Moore, everybody was ugly except for her.
Cheers. So I saw Cheers when I was young. I had like a shitty little black and white TV and then a shitty little color TV in my room. And I would watch sometimes late at night. And I think Cheers was NBC, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And it must have come on after Facts of Life, which was like the show I lived for. And it always made me very lonely. I think because it was like there were no children or very few children in it. Were there any kids in it ever?
Never.
Yeah. And it was just like a lonely adult in a nighttime setting.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah,
what
it was
think?
a bummer. It was a very sad. It was a very sad show. It was, where everybody knows your name. It's a place where people that are nameless
Right.
go and they feel validated, and it's by other alcoholics.
Did you have your bar that you went to?
Oh yeah, Cha-Cha's. When I was but that was my teenage bar, but into my 20s. It
Right.
was a local dive, pool table jukebox kind of place.
Yeah.
And they let us in starting at like age 16. And so that was a great hang. Great hang. Where you're really good friends with the bartender and they give you buybacks, and there's always that one guy when he comes in, you don't know if you're going to fight him or not. And there's always a few girls that are sort of like, there's always like a couple booty calls hanging out, but then you have to split your time like, do I want to shoot pool with my boys? Because I used to shoot pool, and because I had a table in my basement, I drank free all night. I could run the table on anybody. So I could either do that or I could go try to get laid. So I was always kind of going from one end of the bar to the other.
It's a good system. Yeah,
Did you have
I had
a watering
couple
hole?
places.
Yeah.
Sorry, say it again.
Yeah, did you have a watering hole?
I did. Well, so before I had a watering hole, I had a coffee house, which was very central to my sad high school social life. The first guy I ever went on a date with, like a real date, and dated for a little while, I met at this place called Rockin' Java, and that became my hangout for a long time. That was like a Cheers for me, where I could show up and there'd just be people I knew. And then when I got older, there was a few bars down in Costa Mesa where it was the same, where you could it was like just where everyone would meet on the weekends or also during the week, because it was that kind of time of life.
Did you have a booty call there?
I mean, I had multiple booty calls.
Nice. Yeah.
In fact, one of them, I don't know if I'd call him a booty call or just someone I very casually dated, is kind of a fan of yours, and might be listening to this. So you know who you are. Hello.
Say his name.
I don't want to.
All right.
I don't know why.
All right, well,
I
listen.
think-
Listen. This is Childish. Let's talk about our kids. How you doing with the boys?
I'm going insane.
I had
truly-
a feeling.
I've hit my limit. It's just, and I'm sorry, I'm going to whine for a second. I know that people, especially people who are sick with COVID-19 right now, and people who are alone, have it way worse. However, having a job, having a spouse with a job, and having two young kids and having to take care of them while also trying to
With no help. You're used to
No
having
help.
a little bit of help.
We're used to having a nanny.
Yeah.
And we had her a little longer than some people did. Because I know some people who like stopped having anyone come into the house right away. And we were like, well, that I don't know how we do that. So we're going to have her for a little bit longer, until all of a sudden we just sort of had a conversation with each other. And we're like, this is a risk. We shouldn't be taking this risk. So we don't have her anymore. And I will say there is a little bit of an upside, which is I previously had some guilt about the fact that I have a nanny and she does so much. And and I think that anyone who has a nanny probably feels this, like, have I forgotten how to take care of my kids myself for extended periods of time? Like, of course I do it on the weekends, but and also is Owen, I'm very emotionally naked right now. I'm not in a great place. So it's going to get real.
Okay.
Like, is Owen getting more bonded to her than to me? Things like that, because we didn't have her at the very beginning with Elliot, but we had her, she watched Elliot while I was in the hospital having Owen. She was there from the second Owen got home from the hospital. So long story short, there is a bit of an upside here, which is that I'm getting to spend all this bonding time with my kids and really remember that I do know how to do this and I am their mom, and I like that part of it. But just the relentlessness of like, I just need to go be with my own thoughts, and I haven't really had a chance to.
Do you and Daniel sort of try to carve out some space for each other? Like, why don't you go take a walk for an hour or whatever?
We do. But the way our work has been going, either I have a series of days where it's really heavy, or he has a series of days where it's really heavy. So we switch back and forth. But by the time we switch, the other person is like has gone insane. And that's just kind of been what's been going on with his work. So I did go on a walk a couple days ago by myself, which was nice. But I brought my crazy dog, and that did not lead to feeling calm.
No, you don't want that. You need
Well,
some space.
I wanted her to get some decent exercise because we've been going on these family walks, and I think it was even my high recently. However, Elliot is just in a stage where he just does not move fast. I mean, he's 3 years old to begin with, so they don't move fast. But every couple steps he stops and has to talk about something, and mommy, mom, and it's very sweet. Mommy, 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 daddy, mommy, mommy, daddy. It's sweet. He's sweet. But if the goal is to get out and move, you're not going to be able to, and it is kind of frustrating. And also, sorry, just one more vent. The mask thing, I don't know if you've been wearing them. I'm obviously we should do everything, but like there's your mask. There you go. They get really hot and foggy.
They fog up my glasses.
Yeah.
Drives me crazy.
I
wear them when I go to the store. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, I have them with me on the walk, and if I see someone else, I put it on. But it's weird and uncomfortable. It's weird to think that medical professionals and even dental hygienists who are medical professionals, sorry, dental people, they wear those all the time. Like, to me, I would feel encumbered.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah. So that's me. And I do, by the way, have a couple small bones to pick with you, which we'll get into. But how are you doing?
Well, I'm anxious now that I know there's bones that are going to be picked. But
no, they're small. Don't worry.
No, we're doing good. I mean, again, having Owen home from college feels like it's very bittersweet because I know he'd be better off at school, and it's his freshman year, and it's a shame that it's disrupted. But I fucking love having that kid home. He's just so much fun to be around, and then my daughter's doing pretty good. You know, she's a little more, in her cocoon. She stays in her room a lot.
You said she's depressed, right?
Well,
or anxious.
She's doing okay. But we get her doing things. We get her out on bike rides and get her painting, and we jump in the hot tub, and we do stuff. But then she goes right back in her room again. But I mean, that's pretty typical for a 16-year-old girl.
Right.
Getting along great with the wife. Haven't thrown a move on her in weeks.
Really?
Weeks.
Oh, because
tough.
You can't because the kids are there all the time, right?
Kids are there. And so that's been a little rocky, but otherwise it's going good. Now tell me about the bones. We got to get into the bones.
The bones. Okay. Do you want? I don't know that they're really bones.
Okay.
But
I have a feeling I know one of them.
Ooh, you want to guess?
I think one of them is that I don't post our new episodes fast enough.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh man, this is again. File under classic will they, won't they?
Yep.
We're like Sam and Diane in terms of you are on the same page as me.
Me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. I've noticed sometimes, so we come out on Wednesdays, and I've noticed sometimes on Wednesdays you are posting about other shows. Joe Rogan is an exception, but you're posting about Fitzdog, which of course post about Fitzdog, but I feel like for anyone who's paying attention, and maybe it's just me, if you're posting about another show on the day we come out, it makes us look like an afterthought. It makes me feel like an afterthought.
Well, let me just tell you, I have a different producer for Fitzdog Radio than we have together for Childish, and my other producer, I send her my post, the picture and the blurb so she uploads the episode, and then she puts out all the social media. I'm just bad at social media, so I never post it. So that's just the timing, and usually I do it on Tuesdays, but I switched my podcast to Wednesdays, forgetting that we put it out on Wednesdays because I added a new podcast, Sunday Papers, that comes out on Sunday.
Oh, well then I have a new bone to pick with you.
Okay.
You're now releasing Fitzdog on Wednesdays?
Yeah, I got to switch it back to Tuesdays.
Okay, thank you.
I thought we put out Childish on Mondays.
No. No,
Yeah.
I put out Alison Rosen's Your New Best Friend on Mondays.
Ah, okay. All right. So we got to get Fitzdog Radio is going back to Tuesday.
Oh,
as of tomorrow.
Okay. Well then, because I was gonna I thought you were coming out on Tuesdays, but but she was posting Wednesdays, and I was gonna say, could you ask her to post Tuesday, the social media stuff? But so
Right.
now everything will move back to Tuesday.
Okay, good.
And then can you post Childish on Wednesday?
Yes, absolutely. I'll be better about that.
Okay, great. I will say, the reason I don't like to mention it, even though I do mention it, is because it makes me feel like a nag. Like I feel like I'm just being like classic annoying
I
wife.
don't want you to feel like that, and you never should, because I never feel that way. I always
Okay,
feel
good.
like I'm glad she's doing this because this reminds me to do it.
Okay, good. Yes. Okay, good. Now my second bone, it's a wee bone. However, I noticed that you went on Joe Rogan in person and you posted that you had a 3-hour show and then a 3-hour pool game. And I looked at that and I thought, is that safe right now? And regardless of whether it is or not, I worry that it makes people out there think they don't need to be on lockdown if like two cool dudes that they look up to are not taking it seriously.
It was irresponsible. But I feel like Joe is like, he's the most health conscious person that I know. Everything that goes in his body is like, protein, low fat, whatever. And he's also exercised a lot. And I know that his studio is immaculate. His producer wipes it all down after the interview, wipes it down again before the new interview. We're about 6 feet from each other when we're talking. And the pool, granted, you're touching the balls. You're both racking. When you rack them, you're touching the balls. But I really feel like he's clean, and maybe that's irresponsible. But if I'm going to die, let it be with my friend of 30 years, Joe Rogan. Let us both die with our families together.
All right. I mean, the thing is, if you're going to die that way, your family's not going to be there.
Right.
But you can
No, you're
connect
right.
with them on FaceTime.
You're right. It was irresponsible. And I think what we need to do is have somebody there rack the balls, because otherwise you're not touching each other.
Yes.
You're just shooting them.
Right.
Yeah.
Like a Sabbath goy. You could have a COVID racker.
That's right.
But really, it is just that I worry that people will see that and think, well, hey, I should be able to hang out with my friend too. I don't know.
I'm confused, because I thought you could hang out with somebody if you keep the 6-foot distance. If you think they're safe, if they're in your cell. Like, I think of us as all having cells. If you have
Right.
like next door neighbors that you really trust, have been clean for a couple weeks, then you're allowed to get within 6 feet of them. That was my understanding of it.
Yeah, I don't really know. A few weeks ago, the first time we did a remote, we were actually planning on getting together because I said to you, I'm comfortable with it if you're comfortable with it. And you're like, yeah, I'm comfortable with it. And then, a few days later, I realized, no, I don't think, because things were changing so fast at the beginning. And
Right.
my thought was just, if I'm in your studio for that extended amount of time, but your studio is smaller than Joe Rogan's.
His is a warehouse.
Yeah, yours
Huge.
is like a little
Yeah.
office. That has a great vibe, though. I do
Great
not
vibe.
mean that in a negative way. It's a
Not at all. I like that
perfectly
it's
little
small.
office.
Keeps me focused.
That's
Keeps me
right.
focused. He's got an archery. His is so big, he has an archery range.
Right.
He has a billiards area. He has a mixed martial arts ring. He has a full gym. He has 5 cars in there. He has a meeting room, 4 bathrooms with
4?
heated bidets. Heated
Wow.
bidets.
How does his situation compare in size to Adam Carolla's warehouse?
Bigger.
Like how many of them?
2.
Okay. So that's big. I just feel like even if you're 6 feet away from someone, well, I don't know. For that extended, so that's 6 hours together. Chances are good that whoever has something, the other one's going to get it.
Right.
So like he
No,
might have your crabs now.
You're right. I'm going to think twice before I do it again. But
Again.
it's also 3 million listeners, so I'll probably think twice and then do it.
No, I know. Believe me, I'm aware of what the stakes are. But is he not doing remotes at all right now?
No, everybody comes in.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you guys address it?
Well, it's pretty much just his boys have been coming in. It's all his closest friends because, like, people used to fly in for it, you know, and now it's like, you know, he had Bert Kreischer in and Ari Shaffir and Joey Diaz and Tom Segura and me and, you know, just guys that he knows really well that he kind of trusts, and we know each other's situations because we're on the phone and we know that we're just home with our families.
Right.
Yeah.
I get it. I was hesitant to say anything, but then I just felt like
Now, is there anything you want to say to me, Allison?
Yeah, I want to say happy birthday.
Hey!
Happy belated birthday.
Yesterday, I turned 54 years old, which is, you know, a pretty nice age. I feel good about it.
Good.
Yeah, I feel good. I had an amazing day. I had, you know, my family, you get your perfect day on your birthday. So I got breakfast in bed.
My favorite story about that is that for your wife's perfect day, it didn't involve sex with you.
No sex. I didn't even hit on my wife on my birthday for a change. And breakfast in bed, and then presents, which were all handmade because they all make drawings for me.
And because you told them you wanted handmade presents.
Yes, and they did drawings. Although Owen came up a little short.
Oh, man.
And then I did a Sunday Papers podcast, and then I came home and we played a monster poker game. We played poker for like 3 hours. We
You
had
and your
so
family?
much fun. Yeah. And then my wife made my favorite meal, which is paprika chicken. Paprika, I think it's called. Something like that.
Paprika.
Yeah, it's so good.
Or chicken paprikash.
That's what it is. Chicken paprikash.
I don't know what that is.
Oh, it's like this smoky sauce, and you use chicken thighs and you put it on noodles.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing. I love it. And
That
then
sounds
they made a red velvet cake for me. And then I had a friend drove by, you know, the drive by happy birthdays.
Yeah.
They drove by and sang happy birthday to me from the street.
Oh, that's so nice.
And just a lot of good calls, a lot of fun calls. We had a Zoom call with my sister, and I talked to my mom for a long time, and a bunch of good friends called, and it was good. It was a good birthday.
Good.
Yeah.
How did it compare to if you had had a birthday during not lockdown?
Not that different. I usually get a massage. I didn't get the massage. And I asked my wife for a massage, and she just laughed at me, and I didn't give a shit because she gives shitty massages. She just doesn't have the feel. Some people, they understand that the hand has to move like this.
Right.
Hers move like this.
So for anyone and we will put this video up, but I want to explain. You're saying that they need to move in sort of like a undulating way, and hers are like crab pinchers.
Yeah, it should be like a stingray. It should move like a stingray, and she moves like a crab.
Do you feel like you're good at massages?
I'm unbelievable at massages, and I used to do them in college, and I would do it to guys. I'd just give guys shoulder rubs, but then I'd give women shoulder rubs, and then a couple times women asked me for the full massage, and I gave them full massage, and then I had sex with them. It's the best way to have sex.
This is bringing me back to college. I had forgotten that a big thing in college was we didn't call it, it wasn't a massage, but it was, can I give you a back rub? Or will you give me a back rub? And that was always something that, presumably could lead to something.
Yes. It's like foreplay's already done. You don't need foreplay after a back rub.
So how are your spirits?
Not bad. I mean, you know what? The podcasts are keeping me busy, and luckily I've got this office so I can sneak over here for a few days a week just for a couple hours. I think I get really sad when I think about, like, when I watch the news and I see the people that are living paycheck to paycheck and are, single moms and are really staring down the barrel of not knowing where they're paying the rent next month. And I'm looking at it like, well, this isn't like in 2 weeks that's going to turn around for them.
I
This
feel like
is going to be.
We're just at the beginning of where that's headed.
Yeah, and I realize it makes me very thankful, but it also makes me feel like, I need to be doing more, and I don't know, I need to be doing more, and it makes me feel guilty and shitty about that because I am lucky and I've been fortunate, and I just that's the one thing that really makes me feel like when I'm going to sleep that I really feel like, wow, the earth is off its axis right now.
Yeah, but you were you part of the Comedy Gives Back thing?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I'm part of it in the
then never
sense that
mind.
I do cameos, and I donate all my cameo money to Comedy Gives Back. And
Right.
people have been getting them left and right. I've been doing like a couple every day. So if you want to do it, order a cameo. Comedy Gives Back is this great organization that helps down and out comedians that are, again, living paycheck to paycheck and are out of work, and clubs are not going to be open for a long time. And when they do open, hardly anyone's going to show up. So it's a great charity, and they had a telethon. Mike Gibbons was the head writer on it.
Oh, cool.
And I think they raised like $400,000 with this telethon.
What do you think about comedians performing virtually?
I've seen it. It doesn't work. I mean, just do a podcast or do videos where you tape yourself. But unless you have that, the timing with comedy is so exact that even the slight delay that you get through a computer throws the whole thing off.
Right.
And even a podcast, I think ours goes pretty smoothly because we both have our own recorders and because I think we've done it long enough. But I would have a hard time doing a podcast with somebody that I didn't know really well.
Right.
Because you don't know their rhythm. Like, I know your rhythm. Like, I know when to talk.
What? And what have you been doing for Fitzdog Radio, recording wise?
It just fortuitously, I had banked like six of them before Corona started. So I haven't recorded a Fitzdog Radio. I mean, I do the intro myself, which is like 15, 20 minutes of me just blabbing, and then I do the interview. So I think I've got 2 more weeks left, and then I'll start, like Dave Attell wants to do one, and I forget. I got a couple other people that are interested in doing them. So, I'll start doing them virtually.
I think I mentioned it before. I love Dave Attell. I had him on my show many years ago, and I used to be intimidated by him, but he's like a big sweetheart.
Oh, the sweetest human being you've ever met. And he's just like generous. Every club that he works, he shows up with a giant bag of candy and he gives the staff all candy. And then he tips the shit out of people. Like, tips every waitress, door guys, whoever helps him sell his merch. Like, everybody gets a big tip. And he's the first guy to call me on my birthday, first guy to send me a Christmas card. Like, he's just a very caring guy.
Yeah, he's the best.
Oh, we forgot to talk about?
What?
Doug Loves Movies.
Yes, let's talk about that.
Oh my
boy.
God!
I
almost made that my low, but I had a different low.
The crazy thing is that feels, I can't remember when it was, but it feels like 6 months ago.
It does.
Time is going by so slowly right now.
And it was like 4 days ago. But you texted me and you said, "Do you want to do Doug Loves Movies with me?" Which was very nice of you to think of me.
Yeah.
And,
so he has been going either live on Instagram or live on Periscope with people and doing just short games from Doug Loves Movies. So like quick 15-minute segments. So he asked if I wanted to do it on Periscope. So you're not even shown. You just connect over Periscope. And I texted you and asked if you wanted to join me. And you said yes. And I copy and pasted the directions he had given me for how to join. And then take it away, Greg.
Periscope, I think, went out with Brody Stevens dying. Like, nobody uses Periscope. I have no idea. I had to sign up for a new account, and I got on, and nobody said, do your phone. So I thought, I'll do my computer, because my computer will look better. I'll be able to see you guys on the full screen. So no rehearsal, no like, hey, let's get on 20 minutes early and make sure that it works. It was just like, no, we're starting at noon, so just log on at noon. So I'm trying to log on through the computer, and turns out you can't. So then I tried to get it on my phone, and it kept bouncing back my request for some reason. It was just one of those glitches. I was stuck in a glitch wormhole.
Right.
And then I finally got through, and my internet sucked in the back. So then I got cut off from you guys. And you could see him get really frustrated. And I felt really bad because I love Doug. I love movies, but I love Doug.
I felt really bad about how frustrated he was getting.
Yeah.
I think the thing is, unlike a podcast like we're doing where, sure, we can get on ahead of time and test it and test the equipment and make sure we're all good. He's just like doing a number of these throughout the day, and he's just kind of like a train that's going. And it's like, if you want to join for 15 minutes, just hop on.
Yeah.
He's not. So I texted him later that I'm sorry about what a shit show that was. And he's like, no worries. Everyone's figuring this out.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he seemed quite frustrated over just. So what happened was so you understandably were like repeatedly trying to connect, but every time, and you were calling me trying to connect like through your FaceTime audio, and every time you called me, it disconnected. So he and I were like, so I was just kind of the guest, and then every time you called me, I got disconnected.
And then it ended up being, the entire game ended up being one question.
Yes.
And then he was like, all right, we got to go. But maybe we'll do it again. But, Doug's the best, and I love doing that show. So I was just really disappointed. So that was kind of a low. All right, let's do some news.
Time for the news.
Let's do it. You have some stories.
All right, here's a good one. They're saying that this is from University of Maryland School of Medicine. Prolonged fear and anxiety by major stressors like the coronavirus pandemic can have a lasting impact on a man's sperm composition that could affect his future offspring. And the way a father experiences this stress can influence fetal brain development in the womb.
Wow.
So they're recommending that men, when they're trying to get pregnant with a woman or a man, I don't want to be exclusionary, if you're trying to impregnate a man, so you're supposed to calm down, breathe, meditate, make sure your head's in the right space. Otherwise, it could actually be dangerous for trying to have kids.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
Do they say at all how or why or like the mechanics
it
of
says
that?
the extracellular vesicles that that are I forget how it works, but the there's a small membrane-bound particles that transport proteins, lipids, and nucleic acids between the cells. And it fucks with that somehow.
Have you noticed extracellular? Oh shit! I was whatever that was. I was gonna say, have you noticed that in your splooge? But I forget what it was.
Now my splooge is it's not flowing. There's very little flowing. We're saving up. Yeah.
Well, if you save up for too long, then you have like a wet dream, right? It's just gonna come out somewhere, right?
Never had a wet dream in my life, and I'm very angry about it. Every guy tell you it's a freebie. It's a freebie. It's a free orgasm. You don't have to work for it. It just spouts out. You wake up. You're ashamed. You're dirty. But at the same time, you're titillated. I mean, this is what guys have told me.
Right.
But you had orgasms while you were pregnant.
Only while I'm pregnant do I have them. It's like a thing for me when in my sleep when I'm pregnant that I have orgasms, and they feel good. Question though, what happens if you're backed up? It's been a while.
Yeah.
So what happens? Like, do you get angry? What happens? Do you lose the eye of the tiger, or do you get the eye of the tiger?
I get morose. I start to feel like a blanket over my emotions because having an orgasm cleans you out, I think, physically as well as emotionally. I think it gets rid of stress. I think it makes you feel in touch with your manhood. There's a lot of positive things about it. So, I think we got to arrange for the kids to go out and really time it. You got to really time it, which is tough because my wife is not always just ready to throw down at any given moment. Like most women.
Most women aren't, yeah.
No, I think men are like, we're the guy, we're sitting on the bench, right? we're fourth string point guards, and we're never getting any game time. And then once in a while, the coach goes, Fitzsimmons, and I'm on that fucking court, sneakers squeaking, ready to go. And then you got the woman who's basically sitting on the bench, and she's like the water boy. You know, she's like, you know, doesn't have to do much. She can fill the water tank when she wants to. You know, it's not running out.
Right.
And so, so we gotta time it out. I gotta give her some advance warning. Like, we're gonna send the kids out to skateboard at 3:00. 3:01, I'm gonna throw a move. 3:02, you shoot me down. 3:07, I throw the second move because she never bites on the first move because she's a lady. She's got class.
So I know you have another news story, but then I have one, and we were going to see so mine is 10 biggest discipline mistakes you're probably making. And this one jumped out to me because it's been rough lately because Elliot is, I mentioned it before. He pushes Owen a lot. Elliot seems to be too young to understand that Owen is too young to understand. So he
physically pushes him, or just pushes
physically.
him? Yeah.
No, I don't mean like he pushes his buttons. I mean he'll be somewhere, and then Owen will come over. Like Elliot will be at his little kitchen, and then Owen will come over and want to play at the kitchen too. And then Elliot doesn't want that, so he pushes Owen out of the way.
Right.
Lots of that. Lots of us explaining why he can't do that. And not real. Like I haven't done timeouts or any sort of like real discipline. But anyway, this jumped out at me. And so here are 10 discipline mistakes you're probably making. So why don't I read it, and then we'll say if we ever do this.
All right, I'm going to keep score.
Okay.
Let's make this a test.
Okay.
Let's make this, and the winner, let's see, the loser, here's what the loser's going to do. We got this woman, Lynn, who's our oldest listener.
Oh, boy.
And she won the contest for oldest listener. She emailed her driver's license to confirm it. And so congratulations to Lynn. And the prize was we were going to both send her a bunch of swag.
Yeah.
So that hasn't gone out because getting to the post office is hard. And we don't see each other. We haven't been able to get together to put the swag together to send it off. So here's what I propose.
All right.
The loser, the lesser parent, has to mail the swag to Lynn.
Okay. You mean their own? Because how are we going to get together?
Oh, that's right. Why don't we both just mail Lynn our swag?
We probably should. Lynn,
okay.
I just want to take a moment to address Lynn. Lynn, I'm sorry. We're not great about stuff like this to begin with, and then add a lockdown onto it, and I'm kind of afraid to go to the post office. That being said, of course, I should be able to figure out how to weigh something at home and add postage.
Yeah, so let's do that this week. And let's see, the winner. All right, the loser has to tweet out something really sincere and positive about the other person.
I like
just
that.
randomly.
That's nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, good.
Okay. All right.
I'm going to keep score.
Okay. I will say I think I have a bit of an advantage because my kids are younger.
Okay, we'll see.
Scolding.
You mean I had more time to make mistakes?
Yeah. To have to deal with all of this. Scolding in public.
Scolding
no, I've not
in public.
done this.
Yes.
So that would be disciplining your child in front of other people.
Yeah.
Okay. Giving vague instructions. So let's see as for an example. You've told your kid 1,000,000 times not to toss her jacket. This is from, I believe it's from parents.com. You've told your kid 1,000,000 times not to toss her jacket on the floor, so why does she keep doing it? Believe it or not, she might not truly grasp what you're asking of her. After all, reminding your child to behave means one thing on blah, 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 blah. So anyway, not being super specific. I'm going to say that I have given vague instructions.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Well, because telling your kid to do something, we can't approach it as if they're adults. You have to approach it as, you got to give them a strategy for doing it.
Right.
Like when you come home, it's really important that you put your lunchbox in the same place every day And when you do that, you earn the right to have a cookie for a snack. There you go, as opposed to put your stuff away. What's wrong with you?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's just a broken record of like, Elliot, you can't hit your brother. And that's like not getting us anywhere. That being said, they don't have impulse control at that age. Okay. 3, bribing for fast results. Oh, yes.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Any parent that says they don't do that, not only is a liar, they're a bad parent. There are times where for the sake of the other passengers on the plane, you will give your child a fucking ring ding.
Yeah.
Or a Coca-Cola to get them to shut the fuck up. That is upon you as a citizen of the United States and of the human race to bribe your kid at certain times.
Sometimes it's all you have. I told you, got in the car with Elliot, said we're going to school, and then he said, after school, McDonald's? And I said, I don't know about that. And he said, Mommy, that's the deal.
I love that. That's a good negotiator.
Yeah.
He's going to be a lawyer someday.
And then he asked Daniel for a piece of chocolate after the bath. And Daniel, and then he turned down and he said, that is a good idea. But we are sitting on like a humongous bribe right now because he has an Amazon Fire tablet for kids, which I think I've mentioned. I think back in our shout out days, that might've been a shout out item. And it's like better than some other tablet in that it's got a bunch of semi-educational apps and things like that. It also has YouTube, but he was becoming kind of, I would say, addicted to it. He wanted it from the time he woke up to the time he went to bed. So conveniently it stopped working, quote unquote. Like I had to break this. I had to get in the way of what was happening. So we took it away, said it's being fixed. And he hasn't had it in probably like a week now. And I don't know. I don't know if I will reintroduce it, but if I needed a huge bribe, getting that back, he would do anything for that.
Okay,
So,
what's the next one?
neglecting hunger. I don't know that I have neglected hunger, but I maybe haven't been vigorous enough about trying to get food into him when I know it's like his witching hour.
So you've
What about
neglected
you?
hunger.
Fine. Perhaps.
This is
yes.
unfair also because my wife is very, very vigilant. And so I can't say that I haven't neglected hunger, but because she's always around, she's never neglected it. So I get kind of a free pass on that one.
All right, fine. Okay, number 5, going on and on and on. Of course, you need to let your child know that it was wrong to dump a glass of water on the dog, but his shenanigans don't call for a lengthy lecture.
Yeah, I'm guilty of that.
Okay, I'm not guilty of that.
Oh, shit!
I'm guilty
She
of it on this
catches up. She catches up.
guilty of it on this podcast, but
Yeah.
not with my children. Okay, number 6, freaking out. It's hard to stay zen when your child flushes your favorite earrings down the toilet, but shouting undermines your ability to get through to her.
You mean, have we ever done that? Is that the quiz?
I mean, I don't know how you want to interpret it.
All right. I think you got to say ever. And I would say, absolutely, I've lost my temper. Yeah.
Well, I have not outwardly lost my temper, but I have inwardly felt myself like redlining and like I felt myself freaking out.
That's not the question. The question is whether or not you yelled at your kid. So you're
Nope.
saying you haven't.
Mm-mm.
Okay. Good for you.
I have raised my voice when it was necessary to get through to him, but I haven't yelled in a non-utilitarian manner.
Okay.
Okay. Number 7, taking it personally. Kids act out for lots of reasons. Yes, I take it personally. Of late, I have taken it personally. Like, why won't he listen to me?
I didn't when they were kids, but a 16-year-old daughter, it's very hard not to take it personally when they just don't want to be around you.
Right.
So I don't know. We talk about kids, or like you said, this is the disadvantage with me having older kids.
Yeah. I don't
think
know.
to keep this fair,
Okay.
the cutoff for me should be age 6 for my kids.
Fine.
Okay. Tie score right now.
You have a high score?
No, tie score right
tie.
now.
Okay, number 8, shaming your kid. Whenever her daughters were disobedient, this woman in Fort Lee, New Jersey would compare one with the other. Your sister is playing nicely. Why can't you? But this approach made the girls resent each other.
No, I never did that.
No, I never did that. Number 9, piling on. It's easy to overreact when you're upset with your child, but for discipline to be effective, it must be proportional to the misbehavior, not to your level of frustration. Not only are over-the-top punishments unfair, but they present a huge challenge to enforce. No, I've not done that.
I might have done that.
Okay.
Yeah, there's times where, and again, I think usually these offenses happen because of having 2 kids. And I would be very protective of JoJo when Owen would be too aggressive or he would be in any way I thought could be hurtful to her.
Right.
I would get in, and those were the times I think where I would discipline harder than was probably necessary.
Yeah. It's tough. Were they tough on each other when they were little?
No.
Have we already talked? No.
No, not really. It was mostly that he's much more social and wanted to play. And she likes her alone time, so he would get frustrated when she didn't want to do stuff with him.
Yeah. All right, and number 10. This is for the potential tie or the win. Letting things slide. Enforcing the rules sporadically teaches your child that it's no big deal to break them because there might not be any ramifications. Inconsistency sends the signal that you're not truly in charge. I'm pretty good about this, but sure, there's definitely times where I'm too lenient.
All right, so we both have done that. The final score.
Dun, 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 dun.
Greg with 6 points. No, with 5 points. Allison with 6. You're the winner. You're the better parent. Congratulations.
Wait a minute. So I have done 6 points. Meaning, if you don't do it, you got a point?
Oh, wait, no. No, I have 7 and you have 6.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Yeah, 7
Still,
strikes
woo!
against me.
Same
and
energy, different score.
Can't
Woo.
wait to send you a nice text.
Oh.
A nice
I thought it was...
tweet. It's a
okay,
tweet.
thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, excuse me. Wonderful.
All right, well, let's rip through some highs and lows, shall we?
Yes, let's do it.
All right, I want to start with my high because it truly made me happy this
Okay.
week. It was my birthday, and I was on Zoom, which, by the way, be careful with Zoom because it is, people are hijacking it. Have you heard about this?
Zoom bombing.
Zoom bombing, yeah. And I personally know 2 people that have been Zoom bombed, and it was really bad in both cases.
Was it like work situations?
Yeah. There
Oh,
was
no.
a guy I know who's on a board for a college, and he was addressing the students. And they started, first they put up that picture of that black guy with the huge penis. You seen that?
Yes.
They put that in, and then they started showing gay porn. And so
Oh, wow.
that was bad.
How did they get the link?
I don't know how it works, but people are able to get on and,
Yeah.
yeah.
You got to be careful.
So anyway, so I was on a Zoom call for my birthday with my sister, her husband, and their 2 kids who were in 2 different places. And I'm sitting on the couch, and my family's all skinny. So it's my wife, me, Owen, and JoJo all sitting within 3 feet of each other.
Right.
shoulder
You're
to
all
shoulder
on
the
one couch cushion.
Yeah. You're on one couch. And we got the laptop in front of us, and we're talking. And it's a great talk. And I love my family. We're having a blast. And then all of a sudden, my texts pop up on my screen. And it was a text from Bill Burr that said, "Dude, have you learned how to suck your own cock yet?" And my whole family just burst out laughing. Luckily, it didn't show up on my sisters, but it showed up for us. And they didn't know why we were laughing because we couldn't even talk. We were laughing so hard we couldn't even talk.
That is hilarious.
So that was my high. Yeah.
Okay,
What's your high, Allison?
My high also involves Zoom.
My high.
So on my own show, I decided to catch up with some of the people who were regulars at the very beginning of the show when I did it as a streaming internet show from Brooklyn. So in one day, I had 2 interviews with people who I hadn't talked to except for like texts here and there in 10 years.
Oh, wow.
And it was so much fun to, as much as I don't like this way of communicating, really, it really does bring, like, FaceTime is just not for me. However, FaceTime, Zoom, etc., it does make you feel like you're hanging out with them. Like, I was kind of on a high afterwards because I felt like I had been social and I caught up with friends I hadn't seen in a really long time. So that, and then also some of the moms from my Mommy and Me group wanted to have like a Zoom get together. And because I can be antisocial and I was a little bit reluctant, but I did it. And again, that too felt like I saw friends. So it was really good.
This is the greatest. It's the greatest. And it's been my high on a lot of occasions. Connecting with people through FaceTime or Zoom or whatever. And it's like, normally I don't have the time for it. That's why I'm not that into it. But now that I have the free time and I feel isolated, it's very gratifying. And I keep telling people, if you don't want to get depressed, reach out to one good friend a day, including, like you said, people you haven't talked to in a while. Those are the best calls because it reminds you that a good friendship doesn't diminish over time.
Right. I know. One of my good friends from college is living in the Canary Islands now. I haven't talked to her in a long time. We recently became acquainted again on email, but I was thinking, God, I should see if she and like a couple other, we should have a tiny reunion of college friends on Zoom. That would be crazy fun and the kind of thing that normally I wouldn't do. What's your low?
My low was hilarious. I was for the night before my birthday, we have movie night, and so we have a hat, and everybody wrote down the name of 3 movies that they want everybody to see, and we threw them in the hat, and then we take turns picking one out. So mine got picked, and it was the Marx Brothers' Day at the Races, which a lot of people think is their best movie. Mm-hmm. Now, they love the Marx Brothers because when they were little, we had this 5 DVD collection of the Marx Brothers, and it was like Duck Soup, Night at the Opera. I can't remember all 5, but like they were in rotation. They were like 5 and 8, and they just could not get enough Marx Brothers. But we'd never seen this one, but I had read that this was a lot of people's favorite. So we put it in. 1937, this movie was made. And it stacks up against any movie that's been made in the last 20 years. And you think it would be outdated, but they're so tight and their characters are so funny and their interaction is so fluid because they did vaudeville for so many years together before they started making films. So we're laughing our asses off. And then it gets to a scene where it's really weird, but they look out the window, and in the backyard, there's a bunch of black kids playing. And there's no black people in Marx Brothers movies. But in this case, they're jumping rope, and they're singing, and they're all like big smiles. And the whole point was things were not going well for them. And it was like, look, if these people can be happy, anybody can. So like they run out back, and Harpo's playing a flute, and they're all following him around while he plays a flute. And then the bad guys show up. So Harpo, Chico, and Groucho dive underneath a truck, and they're hiding. And then they look up, and they see there's an axle that has grease on it. And me and my daughter see this, and we both go, "No!" And they grab it, and they rub it all over their faces, and they come out, and all the black kids are singing, "All God's children got rhythm," you know that song? And so they jump in and they start singing with them with blackface on, and they escape. And it was just like, oh, the movie's ruined.
I know.
What was your low? Oh.
Wait, I just want to say, though, that being said, if that's the only, I'm not saying it's cool, but if that's the only thing that doesn't stand up today, something from that's a pretty good track record for a movie from 1937.
Yeah, no,
You'd think amazing. It would just be like one not okay thing after another.
Yeah.
My low, was I just had a morning of Elliot had a meltdown, and then in the midst of Elliot's tantrum meltdown, and I'll tell you what it was about in a second, Owen started crying, and then Wendy started pawing at the door, like meaning she needed to go outside.
Yeah, I think you tweeted about this.
I did, yes, that was my low. And when Elliot is in that state, if I try to go pay attention to Owen or go let Wendy out, he gets even more upset and like physically tries to push me back to where like won't let me move. And then I start to feel trapped and I want to just be like, you know, bust through this tiny 3-year-old barrier. But I'm like trying to reason with him and it just left. And then I start to like panic and I get really upset and I think like, where the fuck is Daniel? Even though it was my turn to watch them. I just got very overwhelmed and frustrated that I couldn't stay calm in the face of all this sort of silliness. And the specific.
And that's when you yelled at them inappropriately. You lose!
No, that's not. But even if I had, it would be we tied.
Oh, right.
But the specific tantrum was Elliot wanted yogurt. No, not that yogurt, your yogurt. And I said, I don't have yogurt. I want your yogurt. I don't have yogurt. I want your yogurt. And so then I pulled the yogurt out of the refrigerator, which is like,
Maybe that meant he wanted to breastfeed?
If there is a yogurt I'm going to eat, there's just one kind of the ones we had in there. So I pulled that out. Do you mean this? No, your yogurt. Do you mean this? No, your yogurt. But he did mean, finally, it turned out that he did mean that. And then he was calm. But
yeah,
it was just, they're tiny, crazy people.
Right.
That was my low.
Well, listen, let's skip the phone calls this week because we have so many emails and I want to get to them.
You wrote.
Okay, let's do some good emails. Hello, Alison and Greg. Here's my problem. My husband is home with me. Our 2.5-year-old toddler and 5-month-old baby. Our normally cheery, communicative relationship was this week all bickering and deep conversation about the things we really don't like about one another. I don't know how to avoid this. All of the qualities I can't stand are on full display, both in him and myself, and it's driving me insane. I'm fantasizing about his death and getting a shiny, brand new man with none of my husband's flaws and being able to be a new, temporarily flawless person to someone so I can kind of have a restart. I don't know how to make it through this. Can I have this restart with my husband? I do love him, man, but it's been a test this week. Wow.
Man.
Love you guys, Jenna.
What are the ages of her kids? 2 and 6 months?
2.5 and 5 months.
Jenna, I am relating to this. This is, I believe, just an outgrowth of the intense situation that we're all in and you guys being together all the time. I am confident you guys still are in love with each other. You just haven't had any room or space to be in touch with that part. And it's just the sort of grueling nature of being together all the time and having to take care of children and balance jobs. And there's not a lot of joy or levity right now. So yes, you can have this restart with your husband. You guys, sort of what Greg was saying to me earlier, you need to be able to give each other time to be alone. That's what I think.
Yeah, little alone time. All right, this one comes from Rick, who says he wants to talk about the toilet bidet. Greg, do you have balls or a mangina? You don't need the heated one. Unless your water line is hooked directly to a tank of ice water, it's fine. We have 2, both on cold water supply and not cold. Very refreshing. The first 30 seconds is water sitting in the line, so it's more like room temperature. So man up, Greg, and just get one. Allison, you'll love it for period time. My wife loves the cleaner and hates going to the old school when we aren't at home. Okay.
Well, that guy is very confident in his bidet chat.
Well, I hear that from people, though, that the cold water bidet isn't what you think it is. That it really, like, look, maybe cool water on a hot asshole that's just been hard at work for a couple of minutes can be really refreshing.
Right. If you've like worked up a butt sweat.
I mean, after you work out, do you want hot water in your mouth or do you
No.
want cold water?
Yeah, you want cold.
Yeah, you've earned it. All right, this comes from Alyssa. I'm here to tell you you've been misinformed about the bidet. You do not need an electrical outlet to have warm water if your toilet is next to a sink. You can attach the bidet to your sink pipes, and your bidet water will be heated up the same way your sink water is heated. Yeah, that's great, Alyssa. If you've got one of those sinks that immediately produces warm water. I waste so much water waiting for it to warm up so I can wash my face or, I don't bother with my hands. I use cold water. But like if I'm washing my face, I like it warm. And it's 2 minutes.
We have the same situation, but I get impatient. So then I just wash my face with cold water, and it does not feel good.
No, not before bed. Before bed, I'm trying to, it wakes me up before bed.
And by the way, though, why am I in such a rush? Like, I've got time now. I could really treat myself to a non-super uncomfortable face wash. I'm going to do it.
Yeah. Okay. This one comes from Joe McDonald. He says, this guy says, Alison, it's not uncommon at all to dribble after your second baby. I'm child-free. I guess Joe is a woman. I'm child-free, but in my 16-plus years as a Pilates teacher, I've worked with countless women who suffer pelvic floor dysfunction after having kids. The muscles in your pelvis are kind of like a basket weave. Pregnancy puts a ton of pressure on this basket weave, which starts to stretch. Also, when moms begin working out after their birth, all your joints are still loosey-goosey and relaxing, and other supporting muscles, abdominals, glutes, are all stretched out and weak from holding up a baby. So your basket weave is stretched out. So I suggest you talk to your obstetrician about your experience. I'm sure they can refer you to a pelvic floor physical therapist. I imagine living in LA, you won't have a hard time finding one.
Yeah, I've got saggy basket weave.
Yeah.
I'll do that when this whole craziness is over.
Well, you can start by doing some Kegels. Do 3 Kegels right now. I want to watch.
I just did them.
Just like that? 3?
Yeah, but I did. But are you supposed to hold them for longer? I'm doing one right now.
I think so. I think you're supposed to hold it for like I'm not an expert, but I would imagine like any muscle, you want to hold it for a little while.
I'm holding now.
Yeah.
Releasing. Holding. You can't. I've got poker face.
Yeah.
Releasing.
And it might be fun when you're at a cocktail party and you're meeting somebody for the first time to do some crunches, and they have no idea what you're doing.
They have no idea. I know. I feel like I'm just tensing my butt more than the front, though. I don't really know. I guess I need. I mean, if I were peeing, that stopped the stream.
Maybe you need one of those crystals from Goop that you can stick in there so you can really feel the.
I need a jade egg.
Yeah,
that's what it is. Yeah.
I know what I'm getting you for your birthday. All right, one more email, and then we got to roll it out, folks.
That's right. We got to read our Apple podcast comments.
I thought this would be nice to include this one. This is from Mike Fountain, who is he's a geneticist, and his company is developing a COVID-19 therapy.
Oh, good.
So he's got some tips about cleaning around the house. He says household bleach is more effective than Lysol disinfectant. Make a 10% bleach dilution for your surfaces. Bleach can irritate the skin, so limit that exposure. So do that. He also wanted to mention his high and low for the week, which would be nice for us to. His first and sixth graders successfully completed a first week of virtual school, and my wife and I were able to take walks together 3 times this week.
That's awesome.
His low, my mother is a lead for a major food bank and is insisting on being presenting for all efforts, understandably, even though at least one half can be done virtually. She and my father are both high-risk population.
That sucks.
It is tough because, these people really need food.
Yeah.
And, what are you going to do? So good for them for hanging in. Maybe.
But he said that she could do some of it virtually.
Yeah, she needs to do that. And also maybe Mike needs to jump in and do it instead because he won't be as high risk as his parents are.
Right. If you would like to email us, childishpod@gmail.com. And we often do voicemails too. We usually do them. So call us, 805-317-4243. Follow us on Twitter and social media @childishpod, and check out our website, childishpod.com. And we love all of the super nice comments that you leave us. And as a way of saying thank you, we're
on
gonna
Apple
read.
Podcasts.
That's right. We're going to read 5 stars, please. We're going to read a few. This one is from Dale Bob, Texas, or TX. Great chemistry. Love Alison and Greg's chemistry. The show is always entertaining and makes me laugh. This one's from the Snow White. Don't need to be a parent to enjoy. Hey now, I have no children and don't intend on ever having them, but find this podcast to be extremely entertaining. Alison and Greg have great chemistry and always manage to make me laugh. And then I thought I like to read a negative one too, just to balance it out. This is from a series of numbers. It's 225. It's just from a series of numbers. 1 star. Nope. Greg is too full of himself for me to listen any longer.
Now, let me tell you something. I've accomplished a lot in my life. No, I'm kidding. Fair enough. Some people don't like me. You know what? My best friend, Mike Gibbons, in his toast at my wedding, where he was the best man, said he didn't like me when he first met me.
Really?
And I've had a number of people tell me that later. They end up loving me, but I don't make a good first impression. And maybe this guy only listens to the podcast once.
Well, come back, guy.
Come back. I get
back.
better.
Stay for me.
Yes, she's worth it.
I'm definitely. Oh man,
I'm sure he has a mute. He's probably got a mute on his player on his phone.
I can't wait to get to read my earnest tweet that you're.
By the way, I love that our one negative email is only about me. It's not about the podcast being bad. It's about me. Really nice.
I'm sure we have more negative.
Maybe I'm going to look at the comments next time and pick which ones we read.
I'm sure we have more negative ones. That one just somehow jumped out.
Yeah, interesting. I'd like to plug once again Comedy Gives Back. Go to their website and donate some money. You'll help out comedians that have, aged out of the business and aren't getting work anymore. And, also it helps out younger comics that have given up their day jobs and were living paycheck to paycheck on the road. And it now allows them to live. Like all service industries, the entertainment industry has gotten hit really hard. And so check that out. And one of the ways you can do it is, like I said, do a cameo. And also listen to my other podcast called Fitzdog Radio, and then also Sunday Papers, which you listen to through the same host, Fitzdog Radio. If you just go to Fitzdog Radio, you can listen to the Sunday Papers podcast.
Yeah, you can get those on Sunday and Tuesday.
That's right. From henceforth.
And then, so look, we got you covered Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, because Monday, Alison Rose's Your New Best Friend comes out. That's my one-on-one, or sometimes 1-on-2. And then Thursday, Alison Rose's Your New Best Friend, my group show comes out. Still putting them out regularly. Tons of fun, catching up with some of the old guests. And it's great. Greg, we've done it again.
We've done it again, Alison. So great to see you.
Good to see
and,
you.
I would say nice things about you, but you're going to read all about it on Twitter in a little while.
I just can't wait.
Yes, you
all
earned
right.
it. Well, thanks for listening. I'm Greg Fitzsimmons.
I'm Alison Rosen.
And we are Childish.